In today's video, I'm going to be ranking every single Valorant agent from worst to best, while going into detail on what makes them good or bad, allowing you to get a better understanding of each agent. This list will be based on what agents would be the best for newer or casual players to pick up and play, as well as taking into account my own personal opinions. With that being said, let's get right into it. Hands down, the worst agent in the game right now is Sage. Why? Well, what does she even do? Heal her teammates a little, throw up a wall that can be broken in 2 seconds, slow her teammates, and make it so you end up with extra deaths for no reason with her ult? Yeah, pretty much. Her kit is virtually useless, of course unless your name is Grim, which it isn't. She is classed as a sentinel, yet she has almost zero ability to gather information or stop a push. I don't know anyone who plays her, and if they do, they aren't doing much. With that being said, if you are playing her right now, don't. It's time to pick an agent that will actually do something for your team. And as for actually doing something for your team, that leads us into the second worst agent, Astra. Why, you might ask? Well, her kit is only good if you and your team coordinate together, which, let's face it, never happens in ranked. And she is extremely hard to use effectively, as placing her smokes, going in and out of astral form quickly is very hard to do. So as of right now, there is zero reason to pick her in any of your games. Next on our shit list is Viper. Viper used to be one of the best agents to play, when she had 2 mollies and her decay was actually useful. Now that Breeze is out of the map pool and she can't delay a defuse for shit, the only thing she's good for is cosplay. There are better picks for every map, and unless you are running double controller, she should never be used. And not far behind Viper, we have Deadlock. Is Deadlock useless? Not at all. But is she useful? Not at all. Unless you are running double sentinel or playing bind, her kit is not powerful enough for her to be a viable pick. However, if you're good with her, she can be higher up on the list. But like I said before, we aren't talking about one tricks here. This is for the average player, so I wouldn't suggest picking her. Her inability to cover flank makes her one of the weakest sentinels. However, after her buffs, her utility is really powerful if you use it properly, which is why she has moved up the list from the worst to the 4th worst. And now that we have the absolute Dookie out of the way, we can start ranking some agents that aren't completely useless. And starting off the not completely useless pile, we have Breach. Why, you might ask? Because fuck Breach, that's why. But in all seriousness, he is a good agent when played properly with your team, or when he's mastered. However, for the average player, there are easier agents to play and more effective ones as well. And let's face it, if you're new and playing Breach, you're most likely helping the enemy team out more than your own. In 19th place, we have Fade. Now, Fade can be a great agent. However, because of how prominent Cypher is right now and with the current map pool, she isn't a very viable pick, as her utility cannot break trips and the map pool is ass. So you are better off playing Sova as your recon initiator. And the 18th spot goes to Bender's straight edge cousin, KO. KO is a great agent, but just like Breach, he can go fuck himself. He's extremely annoying to play against, and unless you have lineups like Toto, it's hard for you to get much value out of him. If you aren't using his flashes properly, they're easy to dodge as the enemy team and impossible to dodge if he's on your team. Also, his ult and his knife shouldn't even be in the game, as there is nothing worse than getting nullified mid-push. So screw him, he isn't getting placed any higher. And in 17th place, we have the dollar store Aladdin, Harbor. Now, Harbor gets a lot more hate than he deserves. He's a very good agent, but no one knows how to play him or uses him properly, so he seems like he's useless. In the right hands, he is extremely powerful. However, because we are talking about general gameplay, he isn't that good. His utility is awesome, but his inability to cover lines of sight he isn't directly pushing makes him a lot weaker than the controllers that are left on this list. 16th place goes to Phoenix. Now, Phoenix is a great agent if you are smurfing and running it down in silver lobbies as a hard-stuck diamond player. However, if you're playing against people of your own skill level, his kit isn't very powerful. Yes, his ult is good, but easy to counter, and his flashes are great, but all in all, his kit as a whole isn't good enough to put him above any of the other duelists on this list. However, he is very user-friendly, making him a great pick for new players. Now in 15th place, we have Skye. Skye is an all-around great agent, easy to play with very useful utility. However, her ult is pretty much useless, and now that her flashes don't regenerate over time, she's a lot lower on the list than she used to be. All in all, Skye is a great pick if you are newer to the game. Her ability to flash and get information at the same time puts her higher on the list than most initiators, however, not higher than some. In 14th place, we have ISO. Now I bet you're wondering, why isn't he higher on the list? Because he's the bane of my existence and should be taken out of the game immediately. His character design is so terrible for a tactical shooter that they had to buff him and then instantly nerf him as he was breaking the game. His overshield is extremely powerful and his vulnerable is good as well, but unless you are using op, he is easy to counter, and his inability to efficiently take space if his shield is down puts him lower on the list than the other duelists that are left. In 13th place, we have Reyna. And why is Reyna higher than ISO? Because she's a she's a better agent. That's why. But she can't be placed any higher on the list due to the fact that her kit is only useful if you are actually getting kills. However, if you are mechanically good at the game for your rank, Reyna is an amazing pick in any ELO, and she can snowball an entire game. Her ability to get in and out and take first engagements is second only to Jett, which puts her high on the agent list for me. But the amount of brain dead chimps that insta-lock Reyna puts her a little lower on the list than I'd like her to be. In 12th place, we have the Vanilla Ice knockoff himself, Chamber. Now listen, I know that a lot of people say Chamber is useless, but anyone who says that just can't aim. And his utility, while it isn't the best for team play, is great for solo carrying and can be extremely powerful on eco rounds, giving him the ability to completely turn a game around for his team. His trip isn't the best, but it can be used to cover flank, putting him higher on the list than every other sentinel under him, but his inability to fully lock down a site or trip every flank puts him lower on the list than the rest of the sentinels. Yo, what's good gamers? If you're enjoying this video so far, consider hitting that sub button. It would mean a lot if you did. If not, no worries. Much love, guys. In 11th place, we have Brimstone, the easiest controller to play and a very useful agent. His utility is great. He has the best delay potential in the game, the longest lasting smokes, and his ult is extremely powerful and versatile. Although he is very easy to play, it will take a bit of time to learn his lineups if you truly want to get the most out of his kit. However, you can always just shoot the molly right at the bomb if you need to, and use his ult to delay as well. So all in all, he is a great pick for anyone that wants to pick up and try the controller role. In 10th place, we have a very controversial pick here, boys. It's Yoru. Now Yoru is a Giga Chat agent, don't get me wrong, but his extremely high skill floor makes him hard to pick up and play effectively. Now, if he was more user-friendly, I'd put him a lot higher up on this list, but unfortunately to play him properly, you need to spend a lot of hours learning his kit and have a brain. And let's face it, a lot of people who play this game don't tick either of those boxes. Yoru has one of the best kits for clutching and can be used to completely outplay anyone. All in all, he is an amazing agent. However, I wouldn't recommend him unless you really want to spend time learning how to play him properly. Now, in 9th place, we have Killjoy. Her kit is extremely powerful on defense, and her ult can be used to single-handedly win rounds. However, she is easy to counter if you anticipate what she's gonna do. Killjoy is very user-friendly and has the ability to lock down a site and watch flank extremely well, making her the second best sentinel in the game right now and a great pick for anyone who wants to play this role. However, the range on her turret and alarm bot put her lower on the list than a certain sentinel who is dominating the game of Valorant right now. Now in 8th place, we have an agent who turned Valorant into a Call of Duty player's wet dream, the slide canceling demon herself, Neon. With the current buffs, Neon is extremely powerful. She has a movement ability that allows her to easily enter into sight and disrupt crosshair placement, and it is straight up broken. A stun that is hard to dodge, a wall to help out her team, and her ult is basically a free ace, making her extremely powerful. However, like other agents, she isn't the easiest to play properly, so because of this, she isn't going any higher on the list. And now it's time to reveal who the true Giga Chat carries of Valorant are. And who better to start it off than the spastic Latina who has a fetish for blowing things up, Raze. Her kit is extremely powerful and fun to use. Even though she has a high skill ceiling, her skill floor is low, so you don't have to be insane to get a lot of value out of her. She is easy to pick up, and when played consistently, can become the most powerful duelist in the game. However, because she takes a long time to master, she isn't going any higher on this list. But just know, if you take the time to learn her, she is unstoppable and extremely fun to play. She has the ability to make any gun viable, and her utility can be used in so many different ways, making her the most versatile agent in the game, securing her the 7th spot. In 6th place, however, we have Riot's rendition of Jaden Smith meets Ash Ketchum, Gecko. Right now, he is one of the most powerful initiators in the game. His ultimate is broken, He has a flash, stun, and molly, and is extremely user-friendly. Anyone can pick him up and get value from him. Not to mention, he allows you to plant or defuse the bomb while still being able to fight, making him one of the most powerful agents in the game for clutching and outplays. Now in 5th place, we have Valorant's newest addition and most controversial to date. And I'm not saying that because she has a game-breaking mechanic, Cloak. Her ability to smoke when dead, overheal with a speed boost, and revive herself makes her the most offensive controller agent in the game, a hybrid between duelist and controller, an agent that allowed every single duelist one trick to be able to somewhat fill smokes when necessary. Clove is an extremely powerful agent and one of the most enjoyable to play, bringing new life to the controller role. However, she is still a controller agent, and people tend to forget that, playing her like a duelist, making her almost useless. Because of this, I'm not placing her any higher on the list, but just know I think she is the best rendition Valorant has made to the game. And in 4th place, we have none other than the biggest Giga Chad in all of Valorant, the E-Girl Dominator himself, Omen. He is still the best controller in my opinion. His ability to place smokes at the furthest range next to Astra makes him extremely useful on every map. His bind is the best in the game, and his TPs allow him to be played however you want. He is very easy to use and can have an insane amount of impact on defense or attack. He has a very low skill floor and a very high skill ceiling, meaning anyone can pick him up and find immense value from him, and the more you play him, the better you will get, allowing him to be one of the biggest hard carries in the game in terms of kills and team play, putting him at the top spot for controllers and close to being the best agent in the game in my opinion. And that leaves us with the top 3 agents in the game. In 3rd place, we have the most played and most powerful initiator, Sova. He has the best kit in terms of information gathering and impact. His shock darts can be used in any situation, offensively or defensively. His drone, recon dart, and ult are also extremely powerful. All in all, he has the best kit in the game, and anyone can pick him up and play him. However, he is also the agent with the highest skill ceiling, meaning the amount of growth you can have when mastering him is almost endless. A good Sova player is the worst to play against. In 2nd place, we have my favorite agent and most powerful sentinel in the game, Cypher. Right now, Cypher is picked in almost every single match, and for good reason. His kit is the best for locking down a site, gathering information, and protecting flank. When it comes to lurking, no one does it better than Cypher. His trips have map-wide range, allowing him to be anywhere on the map and still do his job as a sentinel, something no other agent in the game can do. Not only that, he also has countless setups that can completely shut down a push, and you may be able to argue that they can be countered by certain agents, but if you play him properly, this will not happen. His ability to have massive value on defense and attack make him unparalleled to any other support agent, because no one does it better than Cypher. However, because it does take time to learn good setups, and lurking properly is a skill of its own, he isn't as simple as other agents, so he does not get the top spot on this list. The top spot goes to the most user-friendly and powerful agent in the game, who also happens to be the most picked. And even though she has been nerfed countless times, she hasn't lost the top spot in Valorant, none other than Jett. And I don't think this needs much explanation. She has the best entry potential in the game. Her ult is the most powerful, and she is the best opper as well. All in all, Jett is the most well-rounded and easy to play agent in Valorant. Now, in my personal opinion, there are better agents than Jett. However, when it comes to pick and play, she is simply the best. Jett is everyone's first agent, and the agent everyone wishes they could play every game. But unfortunately, that's not possible. But the good news is, every agent in Valorant can be powerful in the right hands. However, there are some agents that are just better than others, especially when it comes to playability and impact. Please keep in mind that if you do take the time to master any agent on this list, they can be a hard carry, but some agents are just easier to use than others. With that being said, if you want to learn how to find the perfect role and agent to fit you and your playstyle, go ahead and check out this video next.